Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Let's Be Real. On today's show, we're going to be covering the harsh working conditions for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the box office report for the weekend. Deadpool 3 is rumored to be like the new Multiverse of Madness. We'll be doing our reaction to Kraven the Hunter trailer. We'll be updating my most anticipated 2024 ladder. We'll be going through our forecast for Oppenheimer and Barbie box office weekend. We'll be looking at Dwayne Johnson's Fast and Furious spin-off movie. Also, first Mission Impossible 7 reactions. We'll be discussing that. And then we'll be finishing off with the Secret Invasion AI created opening credits. So we got some good ones in here. My name's James, and I am going to be the host for today's episode. I have the privilege, I have the honor, I bask in the glory of Nain. How are we doing, mate?
Good.
Good?
I hope everyone heard that.
Yeah, I think they did.
Good. You should be basking in my glory.
Well, you know, it's not basking in glory, the Chiefs, because the Crusaders won again.
That's true. For the 7th time in a row.
In a row.
They have won.
And I'm not sure anyone knows what that is, but that's rugby. Yeah.
Rugby union team in New Zealand. It's a good thing for the All Blacks, though, because
Exactly,
we got their coach, so every other country in the world, you guys are fucked.
After this World Cup.
After this World Cup,
Yeah,
yes.
You guys will destroy us this World Cup, don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, safe bet.
Oh, you know, but yeah, what else have you been doing this weekend? Anything interesting?
Celebrating another Warriors smashing.
Yeah, they're doing well, eh?
It's our third 20-plus win in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Third win in a row. Second win in Australia in a row as well, which is very rare.
Yeah.
We very barely win in Australia, and the fact of have back-to-back wins there is really good.
Yeah.
But now we're coming to a tough stretch. We've seen we got the Bunnies this week, Rabbitohs, and we got Eels week after, and Sharks. They're all top 8 quality sides. So
Yeah.
this little 3-week period is going to really show where the
Because you guys
Warriors
are
are at.
4th on the table now?
5th.
Oh, you dropped down. I saw 4th or 3rd or something like that.
It's because the team with the bye didn't update their points until the end of the round.
Right.
So we're at 4th, and then when the round finished, the bye teams got their points.
Okay. Well,
But
that makes
it's
sense.
looking good. Hopefully they can keep it up.
Yeah, it seems like playoffs is at least in sight now, which is good. Yeah.
Had a touch wood there.
I don't know if that's wood, but it's close enough. It'll do.
That's definitely
wood. Yeah. There you go. He was actually touching wood, not the other kind of wood. Don't worry.
Can touch both.
Yeah, but no. Any TV series, movies, anything like that?
I watched nothing. After that, it was just sports and pretty much gaming. Playing Destiny again.
Yeah. I know.
Doing that good old grind. Doing
Yeah.
some more harder stuff now because I finally got better gear.
Mm-hmm.
So I can finally do some challenging stuff and whatnot.
That's cool.
So that's good.
Yeah.
I'm just pretty much biding my time until Spider-Man comes out, really.
Spider-Man. Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man in October, yeah.
Yeah. You
What
gonna play that Starfield game?
Oh, yes, when it comes out, I'll definitely get that.
Yeah.
If it's on Game Pass, because I have Game Pass.
Mm.
If it's on there, I'll get it. Otherwise, I'll just wait until it's on it.
Yeah, that one definitely looks good.
Starfield, I think it's called.
Yeah, Starfield. Yeah, I heard today that they're not going to do a physical copy release.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently they backtracked on that, so we'll see what happens.
Mm.
But yeah, what did I do? I've watched a bit of the first Mission Impossible. Something came up, so I didn't get to finish it, but I'll probably finish it off tonight. It's just real. I like it, bro. It's corny, classical kind of action.
I hated the second one. There was an actual struggle for me to watch the second one.
Yeah, the second one I think is the weakest in the series from memory.
That was a hard watch.
Yeah, but it just gets better from there, man. The sixth one's the best one, but we'll get to.
You can definitely tell it's so 90s, just even on the score.
It is, yeah.
How it's that fast, little drummy. I don't know how to describe it, but you watch any action film and you know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to score.
It's kind of good though. I like the little throwback, and then now it's really modern and kind of pushing new practical stunts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was meant to see No Hard Feelings yesterday. Sold out.
Actually?
Yeah, who knew? Box office doesn't say it's sold out, but yeah, it was sold out the session that I intended to go to.
It wasn't a smaller cinema?
Yeah, it was a small cinema, but still,
yeah.
Sunday afternoon. Come on.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Considering there's so many blockbusters out as well.
Exactly, yeah. No Hard Feelings, it is.
Crazy.
But yeah, I haven't really watched anything else or done anything. Yeah. Nice quiet weekend. We always need that.
We do.
Yeah, and I'm just waiting. I want more games to play and So I am waiting for Spider-Man. I'll probably get the new 2K because it's been like a few years since I got the last one. So I just need to update
I
it.
think there's a new Crash Bandicoot game coming out, so I'll probably get that.
I keep seeing an advert for something, Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, it keeps coming up on newsfeed, so I'll probably end up getting that, playing it. And then
Yeah, I don't like new Crash Bandicoot. I'd rather go back to the old ones any day of the week. Yeah.
OGs are where it's at.
Crash 1, 2, 3. Bash.
Oh, you're a Crash Bash.
Crash Bash is the GOAT of all video games.
I think this one's similar. It's not quite Crash Bash, but it's very similar. I think from what I've just seen. I haven't read into it or actually looked into it, but just based on what's coming up, it looks very Crash Bashy.
Yeah. No, I'm just waiting for GTA 6. That is that's my ultimate gaming franchise.
Might be waiting a long while for that.
I think 2026 or something. They said.
Has it been announced officially?
Oh. Yeah, it's gonna be like 3 islands or something. Like it's not just Manhattan, but like it's huge. It will push the boundaries as it does and as it should because it takes so damn long to get here. But yeah, all right. Before we get started, we'd just like to, if you guys want us to cover any specific topics, just hit us up on Twitter, DM us there, and we might just feature it on the show. Thank you for tuning into our podcast. If you do enjoy our show, then please go and support us. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. We do want to get on videos, so your support is welcomed. Yep. Also, go and follow us on Twitter. I don't know. I was going to try and make a joke then. It didn't land at all. I couldn't think of it in time. But yeah, follow us on Twitter as well. If you guys do want more of our content, hit us up on MovieGainz.com. We post the majority of our content there, including box office predictions and analysis, physical media coverage, movie reviews, award season projections, and a lot more. You can also subscribe to our email newsletter to keep up to date with our content on a weekly basis. Thanks to anyone who is joining us today. We appreciate you. Cool. So let's get to it. All right. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. A massive success for Sony. I think it's going to double nearly the box office gross of the first one. It's been insanely popular. So much online chatter about it. Everybody loves it. But it looks like the production had a kind of a bit of a dark twist to it. Have you seen the reports on this?
What you're saying right now is the first time I'm hearing this.
Really? Wow. I'm playing too much Destiny, it sounds like. But yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. It's an old game.
It's a good game.
Ugh. Anyway, the harsh working conditions, it caused 100 VFX artists forced to quit because they had to work around 11 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. It got to the point where they needed like 5 revisions on like final renders in terms of the frame and image and stuff like that. So it's got a really kind of dark history because I think there's about 1,000 animators working on this. 100 are gone now. And, further to that, one of them that, anonymously like talked to, I think it was Vulture, about this. They said that there's no way Beyond the Spider-Verse gets done in time. And it's looking to be 2025, 2026. They've done like not much work on it. Anonymous source, but it doesn't look good. But yeah, this is a really bad look for Sony. It's a bad look for Across the Spider-Verse and something that's like has such wide critical acclaim. Everybody loves it. It's doing so well. What are your thoughts on these kind of, working conditions for, VFX artists?
Seems to be like a little Marvel trend right now, MCU had their issues with their visual effects artists for, I mean, their quality is shit anyway, so that's probably transitions into their work. This one I'm a little bit surprised about. I mean, I can understand, like, if you're putting all those man hours into Across the Spider-Verse and the product that we got was absolutely fantastic, then yes, I can sort of like the quality is so good, but Jesus, you know,
11 to 12 hours.
Things they put people through to do that to get to that quality. I mean, yeah, you and I can enjoy it, or appreciate it.
Yeah.
But the general movie going audiences probably wouldn't even know that this stuff is happening. So it is a bit sad, and I do hope they get compensated somehow.
Yeah.
Being a big studio, I doubt it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, really. I mean, it is a bit sad. It is, Beyond the Spider-Verse is definitely going to get pushed back now as well, if that's the case. And I guess if Sony's going to put all these animators to work for these excruciating hours and whatnot, then at least compensate them well.
Yeah.
Because because they delivered us Across the Spider-Verse, and that's making a lot of money for Sony, and it's getting like appraised like literally worldwide. So clearly they're doing something well. So at least they can like show the appreciation by giving the animators, something.
Yeah. So if they were to take that advice, dial back, say 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, just normal working conditions, fair pay, obviously, but it gets pushed back to like 2027 because,
Me personally, I'm being selfish. I don't want to wait to 2027.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a similar gap between the first one and this one, but just the way it ended, I don't really want that. But if that is the case, then to get the quality that we got in Across the Spider-Verse, I'm all for it. Delay it for as long as you want. Because you're on the cusp of having the greatest trilogy of all time, and if the third one fails, then it's going to fall into like. It's just going to be one of the best, not the best.
Exactly. So, so I mean, using kind of what you've said there, if I don't know how to articulate the question, but I'll just go into my opinion. It'll come back to me. But yeah, no, I mean, I fully agree with everything that you are saying here. It is not, it's not okay for Sony to impose such like strict demands onto workers, and I think if this was the case, then you push back Across the Spider-Verse to 2024. And if you are going to announce that Across and Beyond are the same story just split in two, then push both of them back, and to the point where they're both kind of ready, or at least Beyond can be ready in time. Because if you cut the movie, pretty much just cuts it split down the middle,
literally.
Where it's like it's a major cliffhanger. The movie is not complete as a story, as great as it is. It's not complete. So yeah, I think when that's the case, you should have pushed both of them back, and at the same time given fair working conditions to VFX artists. But yeah, I mean, for Beyond. Do you think, in a way that they can make the movie sooner while giving fair conditions to the VFX artists, that they should tone down on the animation? Because it's clearly very good animation. All these art styles coming together and so much detail in every frame. Should they sacrifice animated quality to get it sooner?
No, because that's what makes Spider-Man or the Spider-Verse so great is literally the animation. I mean, they could easily get away with it, if like something's like, I don't want to say half-assed, but if something's half-assed, it'll fit perfect in terms of like, oh, that's like the animation style we're trying to go with. Because, Spider-Verse has gone through so many animation styles, so if something's like unfinished, you could just be like, that's literally just the whole part of that scene. Yeah. So it could work if they do it, but Spider-Verse is all about the animation. That's literally what's breaking the animation right now. We see it with DreamWorks. They're adopting something not as to the levels of what Spider-Verse has done, but very loosely.
So it's inspired at least. Yeah. And Paramount's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep, that's the same.
Yeah, I've heard very good stuff about that as well. So it is kind of bringing this new wave of animation, of just mixing different, kind of visual animated styles.
Back to the cartoony sort of hand-drawn sort of stuff.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool, at least in the sense that, the animated movies that come through to the consumers and whatnot, it's a mixed variety. It's not just this ultra-realistic, detailed kind of...
Pixar.
Yeah. And I do love Pixar, and they do have the best animation in terms of shared detail and what they can render. I think they have like one of the top 25 computers around. So, yeah. I don't know. What are you laughing at?
I just saw Remy, bro.
What?
I just saw Remy from Ratatouille just run across.
No way. Actually? All right, we're going to investigate this. We're going to pause the podcast for this. All right, so we paused the podcast. We looked for Remy, the mouse that walked through the backdrop of our podcast. We went back to recording and he started scratching away at something, and then I paused the podcast again. And we just couldn't find him. He's driving us insane. I believe this is intentional. if anyone's seen Mouse Hunt, that's what's about to happen as soon as this podcast ends.
If anyone's listened to the fly episode where I got sprayed with fly spray, you can expect James to throw some mouse traps at my face.
Yeah, that's a good one. We're going to give you some cheese first, which is your drink. So, yeah, we're going to go back to it. But, yeah, Sony have fair working conditions for the VFX artists. They make these movies great. That's how we'll finish up that segment there. We'll move on now to the box office results for the weekend. This was a very, very good weekend. When all the Thursday preview stuff comes, when the estimates on Friday come, it's like who's going to be on top. We had a 4-horse race for who can take the number one spot this weekend. But the results are as follows. So, number one, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse jumps back up into first with 19.3 million. Elemental, 18.5 million. The Flash, 15.2 million. No Hard Feelings, 15.1 million. Transformers Rise of the Beast with 11.6 million. So for this weekend here, it's the first time since 2014 that a movie has debuted at number one and then jumped back to number one in their fourth weekend and been second or third or whatever in their second and third weekend. Since Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014, it's the first time it's happened. So that's 9 years nearly that something has happened like this. Elemental, second best hold since Up. I think it dropped like 39% its second weekend. So clearly people know that it's out now and people are going to go see it. The Flash dropped like 70%. I think it's when actuals come in tomorrow, it could have the biggest comic book second weekend drop of all time. Close to Morbius, which is around that 73, 74 mark. And yeah, No Hard Feelings and original comedy there. What are your thoughts on some of the takeaways for this box office weekend?
Good on Spider-Man. I was always predicted really to take the number one spot back. Good to see Elemental give it a run for its money though.
Yeah.
I think the marketing really hurt that film very poorly. Like if Pixar actually marketed it like it does for its other films, I think it would be a lot higher, probably number one.
Yeah.
The Flash. Not even surprised by that. I've been seeing stuff for a week how it's going to drop that bad, and I just don't understand because, yeah, it's not that great of a movie, but it's like not the worst that DC's put
100%, yeah.
So I don't really understand where this big drop's coming from. Maybe it's because people are sick of superhero movies now. Maybe people are sick of like average sort of superhero movies now.
Yeah.
Visual effects doesn't help, I guess, as also. So yeah, I don't really understand why the Flash is getting like so much slack for when you have stuff like literally the Suicide Squad out and Morbius. They are infinitely worse than what we saw in Flash.
Yeah.
I guess it also. The whole like nostalgia part, that main scene at the end was all really CGI'd or wasn't actual people.
Oh, the spoiler effect kind of sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess like that big like oh my gosh moment was like ugh.
Yeah.
Really? But yeah, I'd say this dropping a lot more in its third week, right? Because Indie comes out this week.
Yeah. I would say that it has a better drop, but still, you're looking at like, it'll make 15.2. It might make 5 million next weekend.
We'll probably either out of the top 5 or 5th, I reckon.
You could be right because Transformers dropped 44%. That's really stabilized heavy, yeah.
That's good. That's good. Good film as well. Not good film, but it's like decent, enjoyable film as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Spider-Verse will hold the second spot next weekend. Indiana Jones will take out that number one.
Yeah.
I think Indy will be 1, Spider-Verse 2, and Elemental 3.
Yeah. What do you think about No Hard Feelings? Because that's an original rom-com movie with, an A-lister star, or maybe B-lister now, star at the forefront of it. 15 million. I think it's pretty promising.
I think it's really, you said it before, it's sold out when you try to go see it. So I guess
New Zealand's just different. We're built different than
I guess all these cinemas that are selling out in terms of these big 4 blockbusters, everyone's already there at the movie theaters, so they don't really want to go home. So the next backup is a Jennifer Lawrence movie because they know the actress, and they want to go see what it's like. So that's a guess.
It's a great backup movie, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that as a backup. Haven't seen it.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it either?
No,
so,
no.
yeah.
I want to see it this week. But, like, if you go to, or if you want to go to, like, Spider-Man or Elemental and it's sold out, it's like, okay, what's available? And they're like, oh, no hard feelings. It's, an R-rated comedy. It's like, oh, okay, awesome. It sounds like a fun time. So I think it's awesome, like, counter-programming to, like, everything we have now. Yeah. As you say, the palate cleanser. That's your infamous term for it.
The palate cleanser.
Yeah. But no, these are very interesting results. Elemental, I did predict that you got to stop looking for him. He's not showing up again.
I want it.
Nane's eyes are darting everywhere. He's trying to look for the mouse that we found, but he's gone. I think us trying to find him really scared him away. So he's probably gone for now.
I'm sad.
But yeah, no, I'm glad that Elemental held up. As you said, I think a lot more people are aware that it's out. People are obviously sharing the message that it's actually a good movie. The A Cinema score obviously speaks for itself. While B Cinema score on The Flash, that's clearly taking a toll now. That's very low for a comic book movie. And as you said, people I think are very selective when it comes to, their superhero movies now.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Spider-Verse versus Flash scenario here, which is kind of demonstrating that. As for its final run, this is something interesting that I learned today. Flash is looking around to finish its run around 280 million to 310 million total worldwide.
Fuck, that's so bad.
Its budget was 220. The marketing budget was 150 million.
It's gonna be a loss at this point.
It's going to be a loss because what they get from box office is 50%, perhaps even probably at the 40 to 50% mark is what the studio gets back. So it's not even enough to cover its marketing fund, 150 million. So if Warner Brothers dropped this thing on Max, it would have lost less money than dropping it as it's done now. How crazy is that?
That's two big L's in a row for DC because didn't Shazam not make it as well?
Oh yeah, that was really bad too. And remember that Batgirl movie that they filmed and didn't even release?
Cancelled.
Yeah,
yep.
They filmed it all and everything.
Yep, and then they just decided to lock it in a vault and you should have just released it in some sort of form so you can at least make as much money back from all that stuff. Especially if it's finished as well. So stupid. And now you have Blue Beetle coming out as well. That's probably going to follow the same trend.
I feel like Blue Beetle might be a little bit better because did you hear the news that it's part of the DCU, the new DC?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, James Gunn confirmed that he's in the DCU, the character. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I think Aquaman's going to definitely bomb. That's going to.
You think it's going to bomb?
Yeah.
If it was to release any other time, I think it would bomb. You do have the Amber Heard stuff, and that was one of the biggest topics globally last year, so that it could factor in. But if it captures the same, I guess, fun adventure that the first one did, and it releases in Christmas time with not much competition, Christmas and New Year's is a huge, period for box office. I don't think a bomb will come, but I think it's going to be about half of what the first one did, which was like 1.1 million, something like that. It's definitely not going to be as good, but The Flash, just absolutely horrible. And I do agree with you. It's not a bad movie. It's a fine movie. It's an average movie. I think, what did we give? Between 6 and 7, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we gave it about a 6.5. And I think that it still deserves it. Sure, the CGI is bad and stuff like that. But I think, the general audio movie-going audience, I just don't think they care about it. We obviously understand there's Flashpoint elements, there's Michael Keaton's Batman. I don't think much people care about that anymore. The whole DC franchise is a mess. There's no connectivity. So I think once James Gunn's, DCU starts to play out, we'll get a better sense of where DC is. But other than that, man, those Elseworlds, the Batman and Joker, they are the ones carrying
DC,
the DC brand, because it's in big trouble. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend next weekend. My next prediction for box office, though, Indiana Jones, another big bomb. big flop is incoming for that movie. Honestly, it's going to open up between 60 and 70 million. Probably get around 130 to 150 million worldwide opening weekend. Same as The Flash. Cost $300 million.
Oh, Jesus, my goodness.
Yeah.
300.
It doesn't look like a $300 million movie.
No, because we saw it. So I'm just trying to decide where the hell they put the money to.
I know that a lot of budgets have been inflated recently due to COVID and extra precautions, all that kind of stuff. I think Dead Reckoning's like 250, 270 or something like that.
It's been like delayed like 1,000 times as well.
It has, yeah. And and obviously Fast X was 340. So yeah, but then you got like Avatar, which is like 450 million. But you can see where they put that money.
Maybe 300 is going to become the new norm.
Yeah, I don't know if it was due to COVID inflation or natural inflation, because we're obviously going through like, at least in New Zealand, recession. So inflated costs of goods and services and all that kind of stuff are attributing to it. So perhaps that becomes the new norm without it actually looking like a $300 million movie. They still look like $200 million movies. So maybe it is our new like normality in terms of movie budgets. But yeah, the box office keeps getting more interesting, and it's leading up to that the big battle that's been mean for like a good year now.
The Battle of the Titans.
We're going to get to that soon. But for now, we're going to get to Deadpool 3, aka Multiverse of Madness. I'm hearing lots of stuff about this. I thought it'd be good to cover it off, just because, I think the last week there's been like a lot of rumors from decent sources that have come out. So basically, Deadpool 3 is meant to be similar in scale to Multiverse of Madness. The idea is that Deadpool and Wolverine, they are trying to escape the TVA, so they're going into different universes and such. So there's meant to be like alternate versions of the characters, like different Deadpools, different Wolverines, and multiverse cameos. Ben Affleck is rumored to be Daredevil. X-Men's rumored to come back. The old Fantastic Four is rumored to come back. So, yeah, I mean, I can say that on both of our behalf, that Multiverse of Madness did not live up to the name Multiverse of Madness.
Definitely not.
Does this sound like it'll be Multiverse of Madness?
100% it does. And I think it's just going to be even more madness if Deadpool is the character doing it as well. I'd like to see different versions of Deadpool, as long as it's not different versions of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Because like obviously, Ryan Reynolds has been a huge advocate for Deadpool, but if you're just getting different Deadpools, as Ryan Reynolds is just the same Deadpool, really, So if you just have different actors like having takes as Deadpool, like whether they're shit or not, it's going to be like a 10, 30-second cameo. Yeah. It'll mess everything up so nicely. And I did hear rumors that there will be a lady Deadpool in there as well. That's rumored as well.
That'd be kind of cool.
So that goes. That's another span in the works for like Deadpool.
Yeah.
And like they could recreate that whole Spider-Man like pointing meme as well, but as Deadpool's, but obviously make it in a Deadpool-y, cringy way.
They definitely would do that, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of like all the Fantastic Four and like Ben Affleck coming back and stuff. Yeah, if you traveling across the multiverse, it's sort of need to have it, but like it's a bit like there's no excuses anymore for characters dying or stuff. Like Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow died, you can easily bring her back from another thing. Or these previous comic book films that we've seen in the past, they can easily just come back as like a little gateway.
So you don't like the multiverse existing for that reason, just to bring back
just for a nostalgia kick. I think that run or that part has ended for Marvel and MCU in particular. They had it with Avengers somewhat, and then Loki and Multiverse of Madness, and and I think that whole nostalgia bait now is just run out for them. They need to actually start progressing with the actual story rather than just having fan appeasing films after fan appeasing films. But see, DC's in a good sort of space because they haven't explored that, so they can go to that, just not through CGI.
For what's this, sorry?
DC, to sort of have that nostalgia sort of bait sort of stuff.
I mean, they did it with Flash, and that I don't think they'll touch the multiverse again for a while.
They did it very badly with Flash, for sure. I did hear something that they offered Christian Bale to come back, and Bale said no.
Thank goodness he didn't, He made a good choice in hindsight.
But they would have been hype if he was. That probably would have been the highlight, to be honest.
That would be. I'm just imagining him like in George Clooney's role. It would have been like, oh my god, I would have been freaking out.
I would have been hyped if that was the case, but as soon as I saw George Clooney, I was like, oh.
No, I like George Clooney. He's cool. Yeah.
Oh, spoilers, by the way, but you guys aren't going to see it anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did just spoil it. But hey, it's been a couple of weeks now, and you guys aren't seeing it, so it's fair game.
The box office shows, so don't fucking come at us, all right?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm the same as you. I don't know, because I was looking at my ladder for most anticipated. I don't know if this moves the needle. It has moved the needle in terms of the ladder. We'll get to that later. But it took me a while to really come to that conclusion because, one, I feel left out when it comes to Multiverse of Madness. Like, I was just bummed. Like, it was just nothing in terms of the name Multiverse of Madness. And so when I hear this, I'm like, oh, this is sick. And then, like, I think about it, and then, like, I'm kind of over the multiverse nostalgia kind of things. But then I hear, like, oh, the trying to escape the TVA, different universes. That could be a lot of fun. You know, the Wolverine and Deadpool running away together. You know, one very serious character and then one real funny character. Interesting dynamic. It could work. But then, like, I don't like the multiverse cameos always being from past movies. Yeah. I like things where, and I think Across the Spider-Verse did this very well when they go into universe and it's like Spider-Man India. It's just like a really unique, different version of the character that you haven't seen. Lady Deadpool, that's interesting. I like that. If there was like Fantastic Four, but, you know, like they had like different powers or like they were just very different or like just interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Not stuff that I've seen before. Mm-hmm. We're already getting Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. I think that's nostalgia enough.
That's a huge nostalgia for me as well.
And I do have very mixed feelings on that because Logan's probably the second greatest comic book movie of all time. No, Spider-Verse came out. Oh, that's good conversation now. But it's in the top 5, and I think that's a fair statement to make. And they close that character off perfectly, so I hope they don't do anything here that like conflicts with that. Yeah, exactly. But I guess the ultimate purpose of this movie is to get Deadpool into the MCU and escaping the TVA and running through different universes. I think it's a good way to do it. It's a clever, fun way that applies to Deadpool.
It's very Deadpool-y.
Yeah, I hope it's R-rated because those two characters going together.
Oh, it has to be R-rated.
Yeah,
like.
But how you don't interfere with Logan's ending, how you don't have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the MCU once the events of the movie are completed, is going to be a tough call.
Unless it's like Deadpool in the Fox MCU universe, and then he goes to another multiverse, and it's a different version of Wolverine. So in Logan, that's technically part of the MCU. So he's dead in that universe. So he goes to another universe and he finds another Wolverine. And
so it's just Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, but a different
variant, I guess.
It's kind of annoying. You don't want that.
I mean, it's the only way that you could probably tiptoe around.
But once all the events of the movie are over and everything transpires, Deadpool has to be in the MCU because Marvel owns him now. Mm-hmm. And Hugh Jackman's not going to be Wolverine in the MCU. So if those characters are together throughout the entirety of the movie, how do you like split them up at the end? Wolverine's going to be like, no, I'll stay here and you go there kind of thing. It would be, I don't know how that works, but we're going to find out.
That's why the variant thing's perfect because, you know, he's Wolverine will be like, I need to get back to my own universe now. And then Deadpool just does his thing.
Yeah. I guess so. It's gonna be a weird.
It's either movie. That or we see Hugh Jackman die again.
Yeah, and I imagine there's gonna be a lot of green screen and wires and stuff on the characters because the movie comes out in about 8 months, and they just started filming.
Yeah, so March. Because remember they pushed it up, not back.
Yeah, when they just started filming, and Captain America started filming ages ago, which is nearly finished filming.
Yep.
Doesn't make sense, but you know, with something like that, they're either going to have really bad CGI or the VFX artists are going to work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week until it releases.
To still have very bad CGI.
Yeah, probably will. Hopefully not. We'll see if they can actually deliver something good. Something I'm not too sure about what will be delivered good is Kraven the Hunter. We just watched a trailer. What were your thoughts on that one?
Well, I can see why it's R-rated. It does look pretty like vicious and bloody.
Yeah.
I think, what's his name? Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I think he looks really good as Kraven, just, the look wise.
Yeah.
Not quite sold on his voice. His voice still sounds pretty, not quite low, but like just normal. Like you don't try to put on like a gruff sort of voice. But it's Sony, and I don't know what the obsession is with making spin-offs based on villains. We've got with Morbius and Venom.
It's good. I think it's because they only have those at their disposal because it's just Spider-Man. That's all they have. So you get him and his villains.
That's true.
Yeah.
But you also have, the whole Spider-Verse. You got Miles Morales,
Yeah. So they do have some in there.
Yeah. So, I'm not a big fan of all these like villains getting their own movies, especially for like less, like Joker's an exception because he's like a big A-list sort of villain. But someone like Kraven the Hunter, barely any people would know about that. Or know about that character.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a good way to get that character exposed. But this just looks like another, typical Sony sort of film that's just pretty average. And Venom, first Venom was R-rated.
Oh no, I don't think they made it R-rated by the end of it.
Oh yes, because I was very mad about that. Yeah. So at least they're doing something right and learning from their mistakes, and like if they're going to put villains, make them R-rated. So and hopefully it works. The premise of this film looks pretty stupid though. I mean, we didn't really get what the thing was. From watching that trailer, I thought it was him getting back at his dad or something.
Oh yeah, I don't know the story.
Leaving him, and then he's like crossing names off a list, but it doesn't explain why he's crossing people off a list for. It's very Arrow-like, but at least Arrow explained why he's crossing people off their list.
I guess we'll have to wait to the movie, but
yeah. So I think this trailer is just more of a here's Kraven the Hunter, learn about him, rather than this is a story about Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah. Well, the marketing for this one has come quite late. I mean,
very late.
We're at the end of June, nearly July, and it comes out in October, which kind of blows my mind.
Yeah,
that it's coming very soon. Kraven the Hunter, he's a big Spider-Man villain, but he hasn't been very present at movies and stuff like that. So there's a reason why he's not really well known with the audience, and I don't think it's going to translate well to the box office. Aaron Taylor Johnson's not much of a draw himself. Good actor, and I think he does look good in this. At least on like a physical component, he's got the look right. I need to see more from him to really make a full assessment, obviously. But I just felt like an early 2000s superhero movie.
It does.
It's just funny, like the lion's blood like drops into his blood and all the transfusion.
I think I literally laughed at that.
Yeah. No, it is funny. It's like okay, half feels like Morbius, and half of it is like I'm like fuck yeah, like this looks like fun, cool, and it's going to be good. And then part of it looks like Morbius. And I'm like, I just don't know how to make a distinction on what this movie is going to be. So yeah, I it's good for Kraven the Hunter as a character to get his thing. And it releases alongside the game, so he's in the game. So it's kind of a big moment for him, and it's a big villain character that it's about time that he's coming onto the screens and whatnot. But yeah, as for the movie, I'm glad that it's R-rated. I am excited for it. Cautiously optimistic is probably the better term for it.
I think if it wasn't R-rated, it would be so bad. Like I think our opinions would just be trashing on this.
Yeah, because they definitely made it. They purposely made it look like it's
R-rated.
R-rated, yeah. I don't know how it's going to turn out. My best bet is that it's not going to be good.
I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, I don't know what outside of Spider-Verse. I don't know what Sony are doing with their
property.
Just give it up.
I was about to say, do you think they should just sell it off to Marvel?
Well, it's like I don't know. The MCU has so much to play around with. They got a whole sandbox of like all these like goodies, like all these superheroes and all their villains. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to. This guy's making a loud noise, and we're back for a second time. I'd like to confirm that I saw the mouse. Nan wasn't delusional and imagining it in his head. It does exist. It ran away from me very fast. He's just scratching at something now. But this is just another reason to get us onto video. You're going to see all these antics, whether it's fly spray in the face, whether it's a mouse running away from me. It's always interesting here, at Let's Be Real. But what I was saying is, MCU has a lot to play around with. Sony has Spider-Man, just that property. And with that, you have a whole gallery of villains. And he's got great villains. And he's obviously got great, supporting characters and story and all that kind of stuff that you can play around with. It's like, I'll ask this to you because I'm undecided here. If Batman was not a part of Warner Brothers or DC, is there enough Batman to just create a universe around him and have all these villains getting stuff? Or would you expect one of those to go out and buy him? Or like, let's say the alternate, say Paramount owns them. Mm-hmm. Would you be like, oh, just sell Batman? Like, just get rid of it. So, because they're probably the two heroes with the biggest, gallery of villains and stories and all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
I think with Batman, he has more well-known villains than Spider-Man. Spider-Man definitely has great villains, don't get me wrong, but just in terms of general audience and obviously in the comic book pages as well, is that I think he has one of the best, or he has the best villains, rogues, gallery ever. So there's always like stories that you can do with that. There's different Batman as well, and then you have like a sort of family side of like, Red Robin, Batgirl, Batwoman.
That'd be like the Miles Morales, Spider-Woman.
So there's a lot of stuff you can explore with that. But with Spider-Man, you just got Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy, Miles Morales, Spider-Woman, and then lesser known sort of villains and whatnot.
Spider-Verse showed there's lots of like different Spider-Men to do.
That's true, but I think Spider-Verse is an outlier for Sony.
No, but in terms of adapting it to live action.
Ah, right.
Yeah, like different versions of Spider-Man that they could play around with. I mean, a live action Spider-Man 2099.
That'll be good.
People would love that now because they know who he is.
Hell yeah. But yeah, I guess I'll probably be in the same boat as you. I mean, if say Warner Brothers owns every single DC character and Paramount's just the one that's not willing to let go of Batman, but if they do, Warner Brothers is going to make fantastic stories.
Yeah.
Me as a fan, I want to see that.
Yeah.
Because I know that the same thing can be said for Spider-Man. I mean, if Sony let him go before Civil War, they could have actually gotten a proper Civil War.
Yeah.
Comic book wise, that is.
The thing for me is that I'm at the point now where I don't even know if MCU would do good stuff with all of the Spider-Man property.
That's true, yeah.
But then Sony's making Spider-Verse, and then they're making all this other stuff. But yeah, in terms of, villains and getting their own solo stories, Venom, he's not as big as Joker, but he's definitely a massive character.
Yeah.
The box office speaks for itself, obviously.
I think he should have been R-rated.
Yeah, it should have been R-rated for sure.
Especially Carnage.
Yeah. But, if Sony can do something special here, because I know we got, I think, Spider-Woman next year or something. Madam Web. Yeah. And then it was Bad Bunny's Alberto.
Oh, yeah, that got delayed, and then Bad Bunny dropped out of it.
Dropped out, yeah. So, who knows what they're doing, but they got some dates selected. So, we'll see what they do with him. Hopefully, Spider-Man 4 comes in there, and the other one's probably just Venom 3. Venom 3 for next year. And now, we are on to the most constructive segment in our movie news. It's our most anticipated ladder. You get it? Constructive and ladder.
And by it's James, and yes, I get it, but I'm not acknowledging it.
It was a good one. It's a constructive segment. But yes, no. You guys remember the last most anticipated 2024 ladder we did? So the idea behind it is it's not a list, because a list is definitive. A ladder means that people can go up and down the ladder. They can fall off the ladder. They can jump to another ladder. Stuff like that. It's people waiting in line to climb, all that kind of fun little stuff. I would do a visualization, but we're not on video, so another incentive right there.
I don't know who you're trying to. Are you trying to convince me at this point, or the viewers?
Oh, the viewers, man.
Oh,
I know.
right.
I know you're keen to see a visual for this. I would have to draw, so it wouldn't be a good visual, but I'll try my best. So the last letter. What do we have? We had people that made it were Mission Impossible, Beyond the Spider-Verse, Furiosa, Mickey 17, and Avatar 3. And I said to you that I am going to do, these mostly every time when I host, but there's always this new news, new things getting announced, moves, all that kind of stuff. So we have some announcements. People that aren't waiting in line to join the ladder now. Some people have left because they weren't welcome. Capacity full. Get out of here. That's Kung Fu Panda 4.
Oh!
No, that is good because the director sucks and he's going to make a bad movie. That is out of there. That probably won't come back unless I see a good trailer. Deadpool 3. Multiverse of Madness spinoff. Go away. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I need to see the CGI before I can get any ounce of anticipation for this, or anyone else should have any anticipation for it. Ballerina. The director, I can't remember what he did, but it wasn't a good movie and he's not really much of a director. So he's gone. 2 people were let in to be at the line to get onto the ladder. That's Megalopolis by Francis Ford Coppola. What's he directed?
Godfather.
The Godfather trilogy. Apocalypse Now. I don't need to say much more than that, but it's about an architect who wants to rebuild New York City as a utopia after a devastating disaster.
It's like
led by Adam Driver.
It's like his. What's that word for it? His what's it called? Magnum opus or something? Is that the word for it? It's like the one that
Magnum opus.
Yeah, it's like the one that he's like been playing for years and years and years.
It definitely could be. And so, when you got Adam Driver there, you got a thing like that, and obviously a director who's capable. This could be some potential there. But I need to see more for him to be able to get onto the ladder because he's just not there yet. We got another one. The Fall Guy. Directed by David Leitch. He did the first John Wick, Bullet Train, Atomic Blonde, all the real stunt heavy, kind of real action driven kind of stuff. And, for the most part, those movies are good, but it's got Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Stephanie Hsu, Winston Duke, Hannah Waddingham, and it's going to feature real practical stunts. Apparently, it's like a little love letter to, stunt work and filmmaking, so I think they're going to go all out for that one. He deserves to be in line. The people that stayed in line, A Quiet Place Day 1, Jordan Peele's Untitled movie. I mean, if he doesn't announce the title soon, he's going to be gone because I'm sick of waiting at this point. Gladiator 2, Inside Out 2. And someone has jumped off the ladder. He jumped onto the 2025 ladder. That's Avatar 3. Next time I do this, probably Beyond the Spider-Verse will have jumped by that point. I'm fingers crossed that it's not. But Avatar 3 is off the ladder, sadly. It broke my heart to remove that. So 5. We got a newcomer. He's finally been allowed to climb up. It's Joker 2.
Oh.
Faladu. I guess I think that's the title. That's how you pronounce it.
Just say Joker 2.
Joker 2.
We're not French.
Joker 2. This was a really hard one to put in the 5th position. I really, really struggled on what one should do it, but Joker I wasn't too high on. But I've seen some of the set images for this. I've seen the actual release stills from this. Lady Gaga, she can obviously act. We saw it in A Star Is Born. And it's being a musical, which is interesting. Not really, I don't really know how that works in a comic book movie, but I think it can work for what Joker is and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if it really goes into how Harley Quinn becomes Harley Quinn, that's fascinating. I love that love story because it's so twisted and
the psychiatrist.
Dark. Yeah. And he's in the hospital now, and so he can convince it. I think that can be brilliant. If they pull it off right and creatively, I think they can do something special with it. In 4th place, we got Mickey 17. In 3rd place, Furiosa. And as remains, 2nd place, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. I have no idea what you're doing. You're treating your workers like shit. You're going to stay at 2nd. You're not moving to 1st. And 1st remains with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2. So, man, remember, this is a list for everybody. This is not my list on what I'm most anticipating. It's much different. Do you think I have the good consensus list on what everybody should be most anticipating? in order? Or do you think other people should be on the ladder, off the ladder, in line, or kicked out? What do you think?
What do I think? I think it is a good ladder still. I think because of the hype that Across the Spider-Verse is getting, I think that probably should have been number one. Because I think most people wouldn't know about, the behind the scenes stuff and how it might be delayed and whatnot.
Fair.
So I'll probably swap those two around, Mission Impossible and Spider-Verse, just because Spider-Verse has the momentum right now. But in terms of year 3, 4, 5, I think they deserve where they are at right now. I'm glad Avatar's 3. No, I'm not glad. I just wanted to wind you up there.
It's gone.
Avatar's gone. As soon as I saw that news on my week for Let's Be Real, I was like, haha.
It's off the ladder, yeah. Do you think the replacement's good?
Joker?
Or would you have put someone else there? You got the list there.
Yeah. I would have put Megalopolis there, to be honest.
Ooh, interesting.
Because, it's like a very, very well-known director, probably one of the best of all time. He delivered so much.
Yeah.
And then also Adam Driver as the lead as well, and we all know that he's a fantastic actor as well. So
Absolutely,
I think just based off those two alone, does it spot? I mean, if you saw that the director have Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, that's number 5 straight away. Really?
Yeah,
if you think about it that way.
It would be in there.
Yeah, so I'll probably have that over Joker, but all the points that you said about how Joker is he's in that asylum sort of area, and we can actually explore the corruptiveness that Joker can do towards Harley Quinzel and turn her into Harley Quinn. I think that's fantastic because we feel like that Batman the animated series where Harley Quinn debuted for the first time. She was never a comic book character.
Yeah.
She was transitioned, it was a complete new character for that show, and then she became into the actual pages. So if the animated series touched upon it a little bit, we saw it briefly in
Suicide Squad.
Especially the extended edition did a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because it fleshed out a bit more, but it's still pretty shit. But if this whole movie is dedicated towards the Joker just targeting this one woman to break her down to his lowest and bring her to his side, and then help us escape. That's at least 1.5 acts there of fantastic storytelling.
Exactly, yeah.
And then another 1.5 to just let loose. So
I think
I do see why you have it at number 5, but I think number 5 for me, I would have put Megalopolis.
Yeah, I need to see something more from Megalopolis to really put it on there, just because Francis Ford Coppola, he has had a lot of misses since obviously some of the best films of all time.
Yeah.
So we need to wait and see. There's just been so much misses recently, and far less than hits. So it's okay, I need to see where you're going with this. Is this the one that you've been waiting for since did the Apocalypse Now and
Godfather.
And Godfather, yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. But so he's in line. He's waiting his turn.
He's waiting his turn.
Right.
Sorry, I'm going to go a bit out there. Sorry, can I have that list again?
Of course.
I am surprised that Inside Out 2 is still there. I thought it would have dropped out for something else, to be honest, especially with the recent...
Well, you don't want him in line.
He should be in line, but I think he should just be waiting in line to get into line.
No. We have a very strict policy at the ladder. All right. So there's no line for a line. You're either in line or you're gone. I'm the bouncer. Get out of here. So,
I almost choked on that set.
Oh, see, no, it is good. But Inside Out, it deals with Riley as a teenager. They can do something interesting with it. It is Pixar. They are massively a hit or miss with their sequels. I get it. If the trailer or further news doesn't captivate me, then I feel like, it's going to translate over to the general movie-going audience, and I think overall anticipation is going to go down. I don't really know how they feel on Pixar sequels because they make lots of money, but no one seems to really care. At least not in terms of something like Up or WALL-E or something like that, But yeah, 2024 is looking like a little bit of a desert right now. There's just it's quite scarce. Avatar 3 is a big movie. And for it to leave it, the two biggest ones, there are Mission Impossible and Beyond the Spider-Verse. And Beyond the Spider still go. Like, there's no big movie next.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I am sort of thinking about that. Like, you probably saw my face when you said that. And I was like, oh, shit, you're actually right.
Exactly, yeah.
We got such a stacked year this year that next year's very empty. And then 2025 is going to be fucking stacked.
Exactly. I was thinking about it today. I'm like, should I do a very early ladder? Very early ladder, because there are some stuff to pick from. You know, Superman Legacy, Batman Part 2, Avatar 3 now. What's the
there's some Fantastic Four rumor.
Blade, Fantastic Four. Not the Kang Dynasty. But there's some others there, How to Train Your Dragon, live action, stuff like that. Might be a little ladder. It's under construction. Maybe 1-2 spots. We might touch up on that.
A step ladder.
A step ladder. Yeah, we'll do most anticipated step ladder. Might look into that one if we get nothing good next time for 2024. But yeah, it's not looking too great, but still some good stuff to look forward to. But anyway, we're going to move on now to Oppenheimer and Barbie. We've trudged on long enough about this battle, and we're finally at it to the point now where our forecasts are out on MovieGainz.com. Check those out. We've looked into the tracking and stuff like that, so we're seeing where it is and what the box office potential for both those movies are. So some of the sources on the tracking is not publicly available, so I've really dug deep into these ones and seeing where they are at and where they can be at a domestic level. Obviously, when it comes to international numbers, it's much harder to kind of guess that kind of stuff. But for Barbie, the opening weekend tracking is showing 95 million. The domestic total for the movie will be around 282 million, and the worldwide total will be at 570 million. Now for Oppenheimer, still good news. Opening weekend at 53 million, domestic total at 175 million, and the worldwide total at 480 million. Now both movies have $100 million budget, so they can get off from that. What are your thoughts on both these results?
Sorry, I'm just astounded that Oppenheimer's $100 million. I thought it would be a lot more.
More?
Yeah, I thought it would be more. Like, I understand how it's practical, but it's Nolan. But I'm just surprised by that.
Yeah.
I did see earlier stuff how Barbie's going to win the opening weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we mentioned it before in the
earlier
podcast. Barbie won the weekend, but it won't win the battle, but won't win the war.
Yeah.
So to speak. So that clearly goes to show I think everyone is just intrigued and wants to see what the fuck a Barbie movie is. You know, because like with Christopher Nolan, we somewhat know what we're going to get, but we have no idea what we're going to get with Barbie. So I think everyone's going to flock to the cinemas to see that first.
Yeah.
And then the second weekend is where everyone goes to see Oppenheimer, and that's where Oppenheimer goes to number 2. Oh, sorry, number 1. Wait, nothing comes out that week, eh? Yeah. Anyway, that's my prediction.
Yeah. I think Haunted Mansion comes out.
Number 1, yeah. That's when it goes to number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Oppenheimer, I think that's pretty standard for Nolan films, is around about that mark, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember what Tenet made or Dunkirk.
Tenet you can't include because that opened in the middle of the pandemic.
Yes, I forgot
Dunkirk was 50 million, Interstellar around 47 million. And both of those movies, I think Dunkirk made 180 million and Interstellar made 183 million.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, open around that mark and finish around that mark, which I have Oppenheimer at 175 million.
Yeah. So I think it's very just based on what Christopher Nolan films does. I think that's a very safe bet.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think it has more of a longevity. Because if with Nolan, we know what his quality is like, so we know what we're going to get with him.
Yeah.
But with Barbie, she's made 2 movies, Greta Gerwig, that is, but it's like somewhat out of her comfort zone, you know. She's like taking on a big sort of property. So for her, it could either go either way. It could be fantastic. If it's fantastic, then awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to see pretty much a very competitive second week as well. But if it's like average or trash or not as good, then I think Oppenheimer will take that first spot on the second weekend.
Interesting. I mean, that would have to be a very strong hold on Oppenheimer's part. These movies, I think, were destined to be much closer way back when the memes started. But Barbie's marketing has been phenomenal.
It has.
Like, just the trailers, like, the visual aesthetic that everyone's seeing, they're like, wow, like it's very like
running
unique.
the world out of paint.
Exactly.
Pink paint.
Yeah, all that stuff. Barbie, the album, has very famous musical artists backing up tracks to the movie as well. And that goes a long way when it comes to getting the word out to, everyone else. Obviously, the Aqua Barbie World song mixed in with Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice, it just generates a ton of publicity for it. Whether that's good or bad, it's still exposure, and you know what they say: all publicity is good publicity, or bad publicity is good publicity, or something like that. But yeah, any exposure for it is just going to do wonders for it. So I think 95. I think at that point I'm lowballing it.
I think it's going to crack the triple digits.
I think it can. I think it definitely will. Thursday previews are tracking at about 13.5 million for Thursdays right now, which is very high. Oppenheimer's around the 7 to 8 mark. Oppenheimer's got a very different way people are buying tickets. People are buying tickets into the third week because of the IMAX showings.
Yeah.
Like the IMAX showings sold out like nearly instantly. So there's a lot of factors play here. Remember, Mission Impossible is still deep in the game at this point. But with Barbie, it has no premium screen formats. So no IMAX. It's got none of those like luxury ones and all that kind of stuff, because Oppenheimer owns it all, and Mission Impossible is going to be feasting off whatever Oppenheimer's left for it. Oppenheimer has 3 weeks exclusive in IMAX, and the IMAX CEO has said, Nolan's like been the guy for IMAX for like over a decade now. Like, so hopefully we can play Mission Impossible after the 3 weeks, but we're going to dedicate it to Oppenheimer, regardless of the money. So it's kind of a good thing that they've done that, because they realize what Nolan's done for the IMAX brand and all that kind of stuff and the format. But it's significant. Remember, Top Gun Maverick made 100 million in IMAX last year. So Tom Cruise knows the potential money lost in this. With Barbie not even having IMAX or anything else, it does take away some of its potential. But, this is going to capture everybody, because obviously women, that's a target that's not going to be hit anytime soon, because, what's our Mission Impossible, Indy, Oppenheimer, like, it's not targeted towards women. So it's targeted towards them, targeted towards, young women, young girls, because Barbie, one of the best-selling toys of all time. And the memes. The guys are looking forward to it. Like, you can't deny the memes are everywhere. And like, guys are joking about it, but they're also like not joking about it. They will go see it. They're going to go see it. They're going to see it for a laugh and be like, wow, that was actually really good. In your case, the point you made about whether Barbie is good or not, that's definitely much more volatile than Oppenheimer. I feel like we know that we're going to get something very solid from Nolan, at least. Greta Gerwig's Barbie is much more up in the air, but I think we can expect good things. I think Oppenheimer will hold on, have better legs than Barbie. I don't think it's going to be number one in the second week, just because the disparity between on how big Barbie's first weekend is compared to Nolan's. Nolan will leg it out for a while. Barbie will drop as time goes on in standard stuff, because it's comedy and all that kind of stuff. The worldwide grosses is something that I think it was very hard for me to like look at that and see how it could be. Comedies that don't do well overseas, I don't know, just in the history of all comedy movies, they just don't do well overseas. I think the average was like 49% of a global figure is international for comedies. So most of it has to come from the US. And then with Oppenheimer, I'm thinking it's like, I was thinking about it, I'm like, it's a very American story.
Oh,
Is an international audience really going to react to this? And there's no China official release date. Marketing started for Oppenheimer, but there's no release date for it. So it's going to be very interesting on how they deal with that. But I guess like Top Gun Maverick it wasn't really pro-America or very American, but it was very military, patriotic kind of way. But I think it bypassed that by not saying who the enemy was, or like it darted around those kind of things. But yeah, that weekend's going to be a huge weekend, because Mission Impossible is looking to open up around like 80 to 90 million. So that's going to drop around there as well. It's going to be right in the fight. But Movie theater's going to be busy. That's all I can say.
100%.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. I'm not looking forward to the Fast and Furious spin-off movie with Dwayne Johnson.
I don't think anyone's looking forward to that, to be honest.
You're looking forward to that because you like Dante Reyes and because he may introduce another movie to New Zealand again. You know what he might introduce? Minecraft. The live-action Minecraft movie starts filming in New Zealand in August.
Oh, is it filmed here?
Yeah, they're filming it here. I found that out today.
The fuck?
Minecraft, live action. How does that work? Jason Momoa is the main lead for that.
I guess Momoa is going to be in New Zealand for a very long time.
I mean, I don't know what's in New Zealand. We don't have blocky landscapes. They're round and they're nice.
Everyone likes round things.
Moving on. But yeah, no, apparently the Dwayne Johnson Fast and Furious spin-off movie that is going to bridge Fast X to, I guess, Fast X Part 2. It's called Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Reyes. So very similar to the Hobbs and Shaw one, but this time it's going to be focusing on the rivalry between Dante Reyes by Jason Momoa and Luke Hobbs by Dwayne Johnson. How do you like, I guess, the idea of the Hobbs spin-off movie, another one for him, as well as the bridge between Fast X and the finale of the Fast and Furious franchise?
I mean, I do like Hobbs as a character. Like, I think you said it multiple times on and off this podcast, is that it's like the perfect role for The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's only elevated when it's part of, the main core storyline. Hobbs and Shaw, like, he wasn't as good because, he had a somewhat carry, and Hobbs isn't really he's not really a main story sort of guy. He's just better suited as a side story or side character.
Definitely.
But Rock being Rock,
Yeah.
In terms of this being the bridge, it's no longer a spoiler, right?
Pardon?
It's no longer a spoiler, right?
No. They've had a month and it drops like 60% every week. It's out on digital, man. Like, yeah.
That's true. So, yeah, the post-credit scene obviously showed us The Rock, Hobbs coming back and seeing pretty much a message that Dante Reyes, Jason Momoa's villainous character, leave a message from. Yeah. Saying like, oh, you're the one that pulled the trigger, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So everyone would have thought that would have happened within the same, like as the Fast X was going, that would have happened at the same time. But it seems like as if this is going to be before that. Yeah, from what you just said, it sounds like as if it's going to be before that, but it's the bridge between that and that. So obviously this conflict between Hobbs and Reyes is going to be dealt with before we even get to Fast and Furious 11. So which means that Reyes is going to win.
Yeah.
If they didn't say it was a bridge, but like they said it was like parallel.
Right, so it takes place at the same time that the events of Fast X.
Same time, yeah. So like how whenever
it could still be like that. I wouldn't put too much weight into the bridge part, but it's going to connect to Fast X Part 2 in some sense. So perhaps
it'll be really cool because, like, how in Fast X, like Dante was there fucking around with Vin Diesel, and then he went off screen.
Yeah.
What if, like, when we went off screen, we got to the Rock's part of the story, and then it's like, for on video, you can see what I'm doing with my hands, but it's two separate stories.
Third incentive right there. Yep.
It's two separate stories, and it like interlinks towards the final story, which is Fast 11.
Yeah.
Similar to Dunkirk, you got different timelines.
Do not compare those.
I know, but I have to. It's the first one that came to my head. Come on.
I knew you were going to say it as well.
I had multiple storylines and it all came towards the main story. So this is something probably not as good, definitely not as good as what Dunkirk did, but similar approach, That's probably what they can do. What was the second question on that? I don't know if I answered it or not.
You answered both. Yeah, so I'm pretty much in agreement with what you're saying. I would much prefer it to be parallel. In fact, I would love the entire like Fast X events to be in the movie with the Fast and Furious Presents Reyes vs. Hobbs, but from a third person kind of angle. Like, I don't know what movie's done it before, but it's definitely been done. Say certain events happened in Fast X, but you see it from a different shot, as if like Hobbs is like looking at, say, that bomb rolling through Rome, and he's like, oh shit, I gotta catch him. And then it switches and it it focuses on the Rock's part of the story with Reyes and stuff like that. I think that would probably be the best way to do it, and then it leads up to kind of that post-credit scene, and then the connection with Fast X. If it can, if it can end with, say, the events of Fast X, because it left on a cliffhanger. If it can apply some of that cliffhanger and connect that to what's happening with Momoa, say he's trying to not Momoa, sorry, with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. If you see him trying to get to Vin Diesel and the family or whatever, trying to, assure them or like save them or whatever it may be, connect the cliffhangers directly and show that the Fast X is part of this spin-off story, because then you're only going to elevate the anticipation and hype for the last one. So if they connect it and it runs parallel, then great. I'm on board with this. I don't think it's going to be good, but it can be fun, and it can just make me a little bit more excited for Fast X Part 2. But if it's, as you stated before, if it's a bridge between the end of Fast X towards the start of Fast X Part 2, how does that work? What happens? Does he win? What's going on?
This has to release next year, right?
Pardon?
This has to release next
year. That's what I was going to get to as well. That was my follow-up, because Fast X Part 2 is in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to start filming now.
Yeah, you can't have it after.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking dumb.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Since you came at me with the question I was going to ask you initially, kudos to you on that one. How would you feel if Fast and Furious presents Dante or Reyes versus fucking Hobbs or whatever it's called? Say that debuts in February, and then in May we get Fast X Part 2. So it's a very close back-to-back.
That'll be good. I don't think they'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably have it in that December to January.
Okay, I'm gonna go a step further here. March has become a big month for releases. So end of March, middle of May, you got the Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Reyes, and then in May, middle of May, you got Fast X Part 2.
That is good. I do like that idea. Because it's obviously one film building up anticipation for another. And, it's, I don't think there's been a recent example where two movies of a franchise release it close to each other.
Exactly,
but, if people see the events of the spin-off and if the cliffhanger is as good-ish as Fast X, then it's going to build up hype for this final film, because obviously we're having these stories come together, and it's going to hopefully, probably should be, judging by the box office, be concluded in this final Fast and Furious film.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a good idea. If it's after Fast 11 comes out and then it's the spin-off, don't even bother making it, because we already know the story. It's like Black Widow all over again.
Yeah.
We're gonna see whether Dante lives or dies. Yeah. No one gives a fuck whether he lives or dies after Fast 11, and that he give us a spin-off. We already know the end game, because we already know that The Rock is probably going to be in Fast 11. We already know his story to it. No one gives a shit about how these two have beef.
Yeah.
But people will go see it.
I mean, yeah, completely agree. And if I was to predict this, I would say that the spin-off with The Rock will just be it will be moved into Fast X Part 2's spot, and they'll be pushed back to a year later. Which could be fine, but now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of want to see the end of March, middle of May.
The double whammy.
I want to see if that works, because it's a spin-off movie. It's not a Fast X. It's you couldn't do Infinity War and Endgame straight away, but because the MCU's massive, it's the biggest franchise in history. Fast X is dying very fast. It's not making money. People aren't interested. They don't care. So if you did it back to back, and you had The Rock in both of those, you could do it and film the movies back to back. Go that direction.
I think that's a dying trend now, filming things back to back.
Yeah, if you do that and then release them almost simultaneously to lead up to it, I don't know if it would work, and I'm not forecasting if it would work or anything, but I would love to see the results, because say it works. Say it actually, that momentum works, and Fast X Part 2 makes more money than both Fast X Part 1 and the spin-off with The Rock. Maybe more of the stuff can happen. Maybe they can start making 2 movies at the same time and release 2 movies like within 3 months of each other. Like Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond. What if Beyond was coming in September? How excited would you be?
That'd be insane. I think
it'd be pumped, like to the max. Yeah,
it actually would be. I think every week there'll be like a Spider-Verse segment. I mean, there already is every week a Spider-Verse segment, but for like solid 3 months.
And marketing, the marketing would be the hard part about it.
I think it'd be a lot more easier.
Easier without spoiling it.
Because you can somewhat have like non-spoilerific clips. So say you can use Spider-Verse. So if they're marketing Across the Spider-Verse, they can easily have clips from Beyond that don't really, spoil anything.
Wait, so for like the Spider-Verse as the example, if they were marketing Beyond before Across the Spider-Verse came out, how would they just use clips from Across or Into the Spider-Verse as like little teasers?
Yeah, or even like they can incorporate Beyond into the trailer for Across. No one's going to know the difference
until the movie comes out.
Yeah. But then if it's like a little like 2-second thing on the trailer, that's like an awesome moment. Everyone's going to be like, no one's really going to be like, oh wait, that wasn't in there.
Yeah.
Unless you're like really looking.
Yeah, it would be, you'd be surprised about people like that.
Yeah, I know.
There are people like that.
I know there are.
For something like Beyond, if it does come in March next year, I'm not watching a trailer for it because it ended on a cliffhanger. Like everything you see is a spoiler, technically.
Yeah.
Unless someone tells me, oh, it's all just flashback stuff to build hype. Fine, I'll watch it. I think marketing, if that was the strategy, would be very hard because I think people would point it out and all that kind of stuff. But you could do like a little like legacy trailer for Fast X Part 2's case. And I'll say a little, it's not going to be controversial, but it'll be a hot take. And I don't think people would agree with it. But I think Brian O'Connor has to come back. And I'm not joking. And how you do it, you got to do it in a way that's tasteful, obviously, not a way that diminishes his legacy. But the franchise clearly doesn't survive without him. And it can be his voice, unused behind the scenes footage, unused footage from like deleted scenes, or use a bunch of kind of footage from Paul Walker, add legacy to that character. He doesn't need to be a main character and fighting alongside, but he needs to have some weight in it and have some kind of like emotional tale. And obviously with Mia and the Toretto family, that connection's there, and he needs to be able to like be an emotional focus for it. So what's your take on that? If they were to have him in it, but obviously done in a very respectful way, and anything that they can't do, they use Paul Walker's brothers to come in and give like an emotional send-off to the character as well as the legacy, obviously.
I've already got an emotional send-off for the character in Fast 7. So
But
we don't really need that. But I do know your point. Like, you can't have a final Fast and Furious movie without Paul Walker because he's literally the second pillar in this entire franchise.
And I'm saying that in knowing that he's constantly mentioned and he pulls up in the car and all that kind of stuff. So those characters are well and alive.
Yeah. They can do something. I don't think it's going to be the extent of Furious 7 where, like, they use his brothers to, like, use his doubles and whatnot. It doesn't need to be to that extent. It can literally be as what you said, which is a voice and whatnot. Or even like even they can like use previous clips. I mean, they have done that in the past. So that could be another thing as well. Sorry, I'm watching James trying to bait this mice. So I'm talking to my opinion.
I'm not baiting anything.
You got a paintbrush. He was like, "Come here."
No.
What mouse wants a paintbrush?
Don't believe this man. We're not on video here. You can't prove it.
Yeah. What was I saying? No, Paul Walker. Yeah. I think less is better with this character. Like, I know everyone wants like Paul Walker to feature quite heavily in this, but
I don't think anyone does. I haven't heard anything. I just thought of that because I'm like, the franchise is missing him. Yeah.
Or just, I think people want more Paul Walker, more like teasers to him rather than just like an ending scene sort of thing.
I would like him to be in the final moment saying goodbye to the Fast family and stuff like that. don't like kill them off or anything, but like the Fast and Furious franchise and the cast ensemble, they were clearly close.
Yeah.
We saw all of it with Paul Walker. And I think Vin Diesel would be quite open and actually encourage a final Brian O'Connor scene where those two can be together and say goodbye.
Yeah.
And I know it's like, I know he's passed away and it's sad and stuff, but I think if Paul Walker's around, I think he would like that. It'd be a nice legacy capping off that character. And you made a good point that we already got the perfect ending with him. Absolutely. But the franchise is ending, the Treader family's ending. So for that to be,
I think Paul Walker, Brian O'Connor.
Yeah. Brian O'Connor.
He definitely, it's the last Fast and Furious franchise. You have to have him in there.
Yeah.
Like,
in some way.
With his
voice or.
You can't just like have like a CGI or like a car just pop in and drive like, oh yeah, Brian's here. Because that's just not enough. We got that in Fast and Furious 9.
Yeah.
We just need to see something or hear something from him. Because like,
and
again,
imagine the audience would go crazy for that. They'd be like, oh my gosh, and they'd cry and they'd freak out. But yeah,
obviously they can't spoil it. That I think the impact will hit more if they keep it close to their chest.
Yeah.
Have it released opening week, and everyone just talk about that Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker moment.
Yeah,
and look at that. It's a word of mouth. That's more people into the box office, and boom, Fast X's failure is now gone.
Yeah, and it was a failure. But yeah, no, everything that we talked about, obviously the Rock spin-off Fast and Furious movie, we need that to be parallel with Fast X, and then hopefully release them or film them back to back, so they can be close together. And then obviously having Brian O'Connor's involvement in some capacity, I think that might be able to save the franchise before it's too late. If you're going to do the Rock spin-off in 2025 and then Fast X Part 2 in 2026, 2027, much people aren't going to care about then. You go back to being a 500 and under franchise.
Yeah.
That's just my thoughts on it. We'll move on now to Mission Impossible 7. Now, I know you're going to avoid reviews, at least reading the boxes on Rotten Tomatoes and all that kind of stuff, which is fair. Me and you're both so excited for this. We're rewatching the original series or this series now. The reactions came out. The critic reactions. And we're not gonna put the same weight on this as we did for The Flash because we saw what happened there. But that came out of CinemaCon. This is from a Paramount screening for critics, so it is different. But do keep in mind it's an early screening. It's first reactions. They can't express their full thoughts. More likely to be positive and whatnot. So yeah, we see that movie. Not this. Is it next weekend?
Yeah. Weekend after.
No, it's next weekend. Because this weekend it's like the 1st of July.
Oh, fuck yeah, next week.
Yes. No, that's going to be a great weekend. We're seeing it twice next weekend. So
back to back.
Yeah, back to back. Hopefully it's worth it. But the reactions, they sound like it's worth it. Just some highlights from the reactions that I've seen. So it's in the top 1 to 3 best Mission Impossible movies. It's impeccably made. It's another winner for the franchise. The production value is just through the roof. You feel like you're in the middle of the action. With it being part 1, it does feel like that. So it's not as satisfying as Fallout. But, I also saw some stuff that it feels like a complete story, but you're also very excited for what comes next. And just, critics have mentioned that the heart rate's been elevated. The pace is nice and the intensity is high. And, that's impressive due to it's 2 hours and 45-minute runtime. And you just need to see it on the biggest screen possible. Well, what are your thoughts on these?
Yeah, fuck. It's very, I'm fucking hyped for this. I can't even speak words right now. Just hearing all that, I was actively trying to avoid those, but just hearing that just makes my hype through the roof now. And I don't really mind that anyway, but it seems like if it's going to be Mission Impossible Fallout, but on the next level, somewhat, just based on what those sort of critics are saying. I do understand how they're saying it's not quite a complete story and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the fact that some people have said it's a good it's like a complete story that gets you leave excited for more.
Yeah.
It sounds like as if it's not really going to end on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, because they've said it's probably the best, like, part one of a part two. You know how we're getting a lot of those at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably like the best of it out of those in terms of the completeness and
I think this is going to be a lot more complete rather than just have like a Beatty sort of end.
Yes.
Sort of to it, which is fantastic. I mean, production, like
Yeah.
obviously everyone's going to rave about the production. Tom Cruise is literally putting himself and his body through hell, like jumping off fucking cliffs and shit. You know, so obviously that shit like is going to be fantastic and should be like if there's a single person that criticizes the stunt work, they need to go to hell because fuck you.
It would make no sense, but yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it gets me so much more excited. I can't wait to see the stunts in this. I can't wait to see this movie. What's that, 11 days to go?
Yes. Yeah, 12. Yeah, 12. I think 12.
12.
Yeah, the countdown is on.
Countdown is on.
Yeah, we don't have much to see until then.
We got nothing to see. That's our next one.
No, we got Joyride next week. Yeah, it's just because we saw Indie early and stuff like that. So yeah, it's going to be something that I'm very looking forward to. The reason why we're going back to back is because the first one is in VMAX, our media screening, and then we got our fun screening on the Sunday, which we're going to go see in IMAX because
it's only out for a week in IMAX.
You have to see it in IMAX, guys. If you do not go see Mission Impossible in IMAX, you're doing a disservice to cinema. And
you have to see it the first week because you're not going to see it until like another 4 weeks.
Exactly. Oppenheimer is going to take them all. So go and see it in the first week. Do not make excuses. If you have something on, cancel it. If you have work, quit. Just go see it. Otherwise, I'm coming for you, all right?
If you have a baby, give it to a daycare. And it's like, it's with you for 4 hours.
But yeah, no, these reactions just really affirm that to go and see it in IMAX. Go see it in the biggest screen that you can, the best that you got in your area. Man, I'm so excited. Like, you said in my top Fallout, man, and Fallout was just so good. It's just incredible. The stunt work, the fight scenes, the plot is really good. You always get these movies that have amazing action. The plot's like, oh yeah, that's nice. But it was actually like really good, really intricate, does well for the characters. Just all of it really came together in a way that like is very rare with Fallout. I did reckon he doesn't need to top it. It just needs to match it.
Match it.
Yeah. If it can match it, it's done its job. Even if it's a little bit below, it's fine because Fallout's like almost a masterpiece. I think it's like 97% or something.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, it's just absolutely incredible. If this is in the top like 3 Mission Impossibles, it's a very good movie. And man, it just gives me way more hype because it just shows they know exactly what they're doing in this franchise. Yeah, Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise, that they know it. They're going to deliver, and it might seem that Mission Impossible 8 justifies its spot top of the ladder. Hey, you won't be able to say that this time, will you?
Ladder.
But we're going to move on to some not so good news. We opened up with bad news. We're going to finish with bad news. Secret Invasion. Albeit it does have poor reviews, but I've seen very good stuff from people. I don't know if you've gotten around to seeing the episode yet.
I'll probably just wait. Just binge it one day.
Fair enough. Have you seen the opening credits or images or stills?
I've seen images, yep. Yeah. And I have heard about what you're about to talk about.
So I'm going to say this. I'm going to play devil's advocate in this conversation. When I saw the credits, and this was before the news came out because I got a screener from Disney directly about it. I was watching. I'm like, oh, this is a sick intro. This is mean. They had good music and it had interesting, different visuals. So I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And then this news comes out, and I see everybody, and everyone's against AI being involved in filmmaking, rightfully so. I completely get that. But they're saying that the opening credits are ugly, they're gross, and they're stupid. It's not the exact words, but it's along those lines. I guarantee it would be praised if this news never came out before the first episode. Because there's not much of a distinction. In reality, you couldn't tell that's AI generated. Not in my opinion. And further to this news, AI was a component. It was a tool. It wasn't like AI do things for a make-believe Disney Plus show about the Skrulls involving the real-life MCU, and it does it, and they just like flick it out to the world. Like they had like artists come in and check it and proof it and all that kind of stuff. So the hatred for it is something that confuses me, because as someone who watches a lot of content, especially, and is up to date with everything, happening in the film industry and in a contemporary sense, it was surprising to see so much backlash for something that probably would go undetected if they didn't announce it. You haven't seen it yet, so it's hard to gauge on whether you would. And you've seen images, so you now know.
To be honest, looking at the images, I wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't know the news, I'd be like, nah, that's not AI.
Yeah, okay, so you'd be on the same boat with me with this one. Obviously, the main question is, how do you feel about Marvel using AI? There's a lot of questions to this because it's something I want to break down a little bit more. But overall, what's your overall thoughts about AI being involved with this?
I think you said it before, like AI should never replace a person, but it should assist. Yeah. So I think it's a good idea to use AI to make stuff, give people ideas, and then have actual people go and tweak it.
Yep.
And that's clearly what these guys have done. They've made AI opening credits, and they've had actual people come in and tweak it. And if you use AI a bit more often, have people come in, then that's going to free up your load to focus on. Oh, shut up, mouse!
Mouse's going crazy.
To focus on, the bigger stuff, the proper visual effects and whatnot, rather than like some small little like 5-10 second snippet where it would take like an actual human, like, I don't know, let's say a day to like make, where AI can make it in like half a day, maybe less, way less.
For like an hour, yeah.
Probably in an hour, and someone to like make a little bit of adjustments, and then you got the same same thing in less than a day, like those, like the actual man hours can be put into, the proper visual effects to make sure everything looks clean and nice. And then something stupid like this, it's just easily done by AI and proof checked. So I think that's the way AI should be used within the film industry. Is not quite as a replacement for a person or a department, but more as an assistance to relieve a certain section so people can focus on another bit of the film.
Yeah. Okay. No, yeah, that's beautifully illustrated there. And I'm glad you said that. And I'll touch back on that because you said that quite nicely. But Marvel's justification, or I guess the people involved in this, they said that, they reached out to AI vendors, and they said that having the AI do the opening credits felt right, due to it being based on, Skrulls and identity, who's the imposter and all that kind of stuff. Do you think that's good, like, justification for them using AI? Because there's a backlash that are saying different things to like what me and you are saying right now.
Just sounds like Andy Muschietti and his justification for the visual effects of the Flash. It's just a cop out, really. Like they're getting backlash.
So you think it's a bad excuse and it doesn't apply, despite us agreeing with or semi-agreeing with this?
I think it's a bad excuse because from Marvel, what they said, it seems like as if they're going to replace an entire department just to do this with it through AI.
Yeah.
Where we're saying, like, no, use it to help to relieve a certain department where they can focus on on a separate department. So Marvel, that comment, it seems like as if they're going to be like, oh, cool, we can do AI to do this now. Boom, you guys are fired.
Yeah.
It's like that sort of stuff. The justification's bad. It's just, like I said, it's the same with the Flash and the visual effects. It's too little too late. Make the announcements before.
Interesting. Yeah. No, you're just on fire today because you're leading up to my next question. So my last two that I got in terms of the conversation here, you're kind of covered off, but I'll go back to what you were saying before. Now, when it comes to VFX, animation and stuff like that, we're seeing so much reports of they're overworked, 7 days, 10 to 12 hours. Spider-Verse has had it. Marvel's been, draining VFX artists. There's such a backlash, and there's such a real hate for AI in the film industry. Now, I saw a bit of Nolan's comments on it because I follow that stuff quite closely because, Nolan's my favorite director and whatnot. He says it's a tool, and I'm on that same boat that it's the VFX industry cannot keep up with the film industry. There's too many big blockbusters that require way too much, that there's like not enough labor and not enough people to do the work in fair working conditions with good pay and, a 40-hour work week or whatnot. So should the majority of people that are very against this kind of just hold off on the AI hateness and just like see where it goes and allow it to be a tool to assist and not, or should they just carry on the system where no AI in films ever?
No, because that's dumb.
What? The no AI?
Yeah. Because AI is definitely a tool. It's like Microsoft Excel,
Mm-hmm.
No one has the time to go on a calculator and formulate spreadsheets and formulas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is a tool for that.
Uh-huh.
You put in your formula and then boom, it's automatically done for you.
Yeah.
This is exactly what AI can do
Mm-hmm.
for the movie industry.
Yeah.
It can help assist in filmmaking. It can
Mm-hmm.
relieve pressure off visual effects artists and
Yeah.
other departments, so they
Mhm.
can focus on the more nitty gritty stuff that actually takes more time
Yeah.
rather than having to spend so long on like this little short sort of thing.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have to apply to TV series in terms of opening credits. It can apply to like
All of it.
all of it. It can apply to like, say you have a scene where it only takes like, it's like something like a post in the background that needs to be digitally put in. Boom, AI down
Yeah.
in 10 seconds rather than an hour
Uh-huh.
or half an hour to make. you
Yeah.
know? So it's definitely a tool that should be used.
Mhm.
But then again, at what point is too much?
Yeah.
And that's probably where they're saying, like, at what point does it not become a tool, it becomes a person?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think there needs to be a line. I think the way it is now, because AI is such in its early phase, it's fine. It's been used as that tool.
Yeah.
But then I think in probably 5-10 years' time, it's going to become a person.
Yeah. Damn. That's what I said because that was leading to my final question on this. But yeah, I completely agree. Just in terms of like visual effects and stuff like that, if AI had the capability to do like, base visual effects, the VFX artists go in, they touch it up and they clean it up, they do what they do. But AI has done the real groundwork. I know that I've used AI in my job just to help with really base stuff. It just speeds the really base processes up. So yeah, that mouse is really distracting.
It's fine. We're almost done.
We're almost done. But yeah, honestly, AI, there has to be a limit, which was kind of going towards my last question here. And my last question was, when does it become too much? It does, and you covered that soon it's going to replace the person. That's not what we want. That's not what we're saying here. But do you think just having or even mentioning AI being involved, does that set a bad precedent for future filmmaking? And other studios are watching this. Is that bad to just even announce it because other studios are looking at this and be like, oh, they got that to help out? We'll get it to help our stuff. What do you think?
I mean, you can be really dodgy, like Marvel did the right thing and announced it did. If you're like another studio and you use AI, you don't really have to say that you use AI because no one would be the wiser, if Marvel don't announce that this was AI, as you said, no one would have known.
No one would have. I promise you, no one would have known. Yeah,
no one would have known. So everyone would be like, "Oh fuck, this is creative as fuck." No one needs to say anything. You keep your mouth shut. You're fine. You tell your visual effects team, "Yo, here's an extra 10K." You silence your mouth. We're good. We're good, G. We're good, G. And you get, you're getting topped off nicely. But then again, that's not how studios play.
Yeah.
They have to announce it and they have to credit it.
Yeah.
In some shape or form.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I covered it before. Like,
there's
not really a definitive line, but like as soon as that line gets crossed, that's when people know.
Yeah.
That's when it's become a person, not a tool.
Mm-hmm. I do think that there should be a definitive line, at least an unspoken rule within the film industry that, hey, look, we're going to use AI. They're going to be tools to help our workers to make their lives easier and to make our movies better. And this is the line. This is what they do. And it should be like code or perhaps even law, where the AI cannot interfere with the complete creative process. I think something like that I think it's fair. I think it helps our film industry as well, because if you want all these big movies to come out year upon year, then something needs to change. They can't have all these workers working overtime like crazy. And you're either going to have people working like nuts to create a great movie like Spider-Verse and destroy their mental and physical health, or you're going to have really bad CGI like we saw in The Flash. So with AI, you might be able to balance those kind of two things there to create something a little bit more even. It's better for the studios, more money, better for us, the consumers, you get better films. I think we can both agree on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is going to do it from us today. What an eventful podcast that was. That mouse really kept us on its toes, but I saw it run away, so it won't all be distracting us any longer. Yeah. But do you guys agree with everything that we've spoken about today? Do you think AI should be involved in the filmmaking process at all, even if it's for credits? Whatever it is, whatever your thoughts are, let us know on Twitter. Chuck us a DM there and we can have a chat about it. Subscribe to us on YouTube, support us in the show. If we were on video today, it would have been a hilarious, fun one. I promise you. We don't always have mice. We don't always have flies, but we're still a fun time. Get us on video, support us. We appreciate that. Jump over to MovieGainz.com. We do a ton of content there. That's the majority of what we do. Box office forecasting analysis, 4K movie reviews, the best-selling 4Ks out now, and monthly release dates for everything. Subscribe to our newsletter. Keep up to date with everything that we do. Other than that, thanks for joining us again today. We'll catch you next time. Keep bringing the hype. Peace.
See you later.